story, but unfortunately,
I mean, again, right?
I only find a way of finding.
So much, whatever the narrative is, whatever the truth is, at the end.
And I also make the point, I don't know if you saw this, but there was an interesting editorial in the Sunday paper about how Albo makes decisions. And they basically posited the view that he takes too long to make a decision. And when he finally does take the decision, it's too weak. So he is at once late, indecisive, and insubstantial. And I want to put that in the context of, guess what? Maybe a plan to reform the housing market. Well, maybe not. We'll come on to capital gains a bit later in the show. But of course, it wasn't in the campaign last time. But I also want to make the point that he's talking about leaning on Asian partners, et cetera, and putting less tax on gas, but more stimulus. So he's facing pressure to counter inflation by, guess what, providing more stimulus. And here's an example. They announced a $1 billion of free loans to critical businesses. It's just the start. As this particular tweet said, happened in 2008, 2020, could happen again. Inflationary, of course, prices go up. And interestingly, this tweet said today it's Australia, tomorrow it could be Japan, Europe, or even the US. And in fact, the French government will offer loans to small businesses as well. So you can see that the story here is that as politicians try to sort of position around the current crisis, the first thought is hand out some more money.
Yeah, the bigger question, or the $64 million question, or $64 billion question, is really going to be where does that money go, and how is that money used, and for what purpose? I mean, we can see the aftermath of many government policies, particularly with the lockdowns, and as to what happened there. I mean, is it really going to give that lifeline to the small business operators? Yeah, who is it really for? And then how is that going to benefit the greater mass? Outside of the public, the private sector, as opposed to we know where the public sector is going. But Martin, look. The interesting thing is we're coming to this May budget, and you mentioned the different policies that are going to be potentially being adopted. Are they really going to be adopted? But what's behind all these policies? What is it? Is it just rhetoric? Is it real policy? Is it going to really bite? And who's it going to bite? What is the outcome that they want to achieve? And definitely we're going to be having a deeper look into the so-called policy. And this is like, as you say, in his speech, with regards to negative gearing. And also the pullback on CGT as well. We've got to ask the question: how is that going to affect the property market or the property landscape, moving forward? But I go back to 2 points, and obviously one is we need to look at what happened in Melbourne, or what's been happening in Melbourne, when the investor side of the property arena got smacked for going too hard. Now, what's the aftermath of that? We've got huge numbers of investment properties on the market for sale that can't be sold. People don't want to buy them because they're the wrong type of property and they're built in the wrong areas. We can't even see you can't even say that the first-time buyers or people are really interested in buying them, because if they were, we wouldn't have such large numbers, large volumes of properties. Hence the reason why the property market in Victoria and Melbourne is tanking. It's going to go backwards even a lot harder if they keep on going with those silly policies that they've got in place. So now some experts are also saying that if the government does adopt what Albert said in the press in his speech there, if they do adopt that policy, if his government does adopt that policy, we could potentially have a pullback of 40% of the proposed yearly construction or approvals of homes moving forward. So investors are going to pull away from that, from investing, and we need investors to be involved or buy the new, because that is where they get the best outcome with regards to negative gearing. As much as there's a lot of property commentators and that would talk against it, but the government isn't building. So who else is going to prop up? Who else is going to prop up affordable housing for those in need, Martin? The government's certainly not building it. And then secondly, the second point is, so if the first one is obviously look at what happened in Victoria, and if you want to take you want to test it out nationally, well, I think you're going to have the same outcome. And the second one is we talk about approvals, but what about completions? When are we going to start talking about completions? So so you've got two obstacles or two major headwinds that are going to really have a counter effect to what they really propose or they believe it will have. When those policies, if they are baked into into the economic structure or the government policies moving forward.
Yeah, I think it's very interesting that you draw that comparison with Melbourne, because of course we know that in and around the Melbourne greater area, the investment returns are crashing. They've been crashing for some time. Higher taxes, of course, land taxes and the other costs, other compliance costs, etc., etc. And more investors are just underwater completely. So they're actually getting out. Now, of course, some of those property investors are actually buying in other states at the moment, particularly, interestingly, in the West, around Perth, and also Adelaide, and even up in Queensland, and even a little bit down in Hobart now, I saw recently. So people are moving simply because of that intervention by the state government, whose debt, of course, continues to rise and rise and rise, regardless of these tax changes. So I'm afraid that it's the law of unintended consequences that I think we need to